I'm back. How y'all doing out there in Wonderland, land of wonder, land of make them believe? Anyway, I want to clarify a couple of things here before I get into the meat. And the first one is I want to clarify here for mums and dads. You do not need to wait until your children are 18 years of age to liberate them from the system. You as the maker, owner, ruler, they belong to you. They are your property. You need to stand up for them. You can express your will, your wishes, your intentions at the time of the registration of the birth, which is the best time to do so, or any time thereafter, the sooner the better. One other thing, regarding the Reclaim Your Securities power of attorney mentioned in our videos. The power of attorney is not something you find on the internet. It is not drafted by lawyers. It is not an enduring power of attorney, nor a general power of attorney or a power of attorney for property, personal care, or for making decisions for people. It is a customized document for a specific purpose to take administrative control of and over your estate. It comes with our information package. All right, so let's get into the meat. A lot of people place emphasis on the paperwork. The paperwork is an extension of the author. And I want to tell you about a woman who has a Reclaim Your Securities information, what she did when the sheriff came to serve foreclosure papers. She did not provide any paperwork to the sheriff whatsoever. Sheriff comes to the door, and right off the bat, the sheriff is trying to get her to identify herself as the person, like Marv here. Fictional being, dead, right? Has no life. Keep this in mind. This is important for people to understand the differences here, what comes from God, what comes from man, what has life and what doesn't have life. Sheriff tried to pepper her. Are you the person? Are you the resident? I'm giving you the short version here. This conversation is recorded. It's part of our Reclaim Your Securities package, exactly what she did. So how she identified herself is what she said, I am one with an interest in the estate. And she also got into the point that a person is a fictional being and that she has evidence in the house that a person from a high court justice, she's not saying this, it's coming from a high court justice, that a person is a fictional being. So she stuck to the point consistently, I am one with an interest in the estate, and a person is a fictional being. And eventually the sheriff, he's putting his hand on his forehead, and you can see he's kind of hemming and hawing a little bit. Eventually says, I got to talk to my supervisor. So he walks to his cruiser, contacts his supervisor, comes back to the house, and apologizes to her. Mastery here is the ability to think and speak to any matter on the fly. Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Now here's the point. She raised two very important points. She said, I am one with an interest in that estate. She also dealt with a person as a fictional being. Therefore, she is not the debtor. Now look at it that she, buying through the estate, is the creditor bank, and the person, like Marv here, hey Marv, is the debtor. And with respect to the interest in the estate, as for the Reclaim Your Securities paperwork, the lien against the estate secures an interest in the estate, the property, the security, like banks do. They secure an interest in property, not ownership of it. Owner pays, correct? Well, the legal ownership is vested in the trustee being the holder of the registration of live birth. So when the woman said what she said to the sheriff, although she did not provide any paperwork, a copy of our Reclaim Your security agreement or a copy of the lien filing would have been the evidence of her interest, not in her name, but the name of her proxy. You've heard this proxy mentioned in previous videos. Trying to fit man into the system, a dead system, is a waste of time. And what the sheriff was attempting to do, he was attempting to attach the obligations of the owner trustee on her for performance. So let's get a little deeper here. I've heard about this live life claim to prove life. Let's think about this. Let's think about this. How the heck will you prove life in a dead fictional system? Only that what is of God, what God created, has life. God rules over his creation, and the parliaments and the legislatures, the Congress, so on and so forth, rule over their dead fiction creations. Like Marv here. Seriously, people, you need to discern what has life from that which has no life. Furthermore, and this is stated in the previous videos, but I'm going to say it again, furthermore, they will treat you as a person. They will stick it to you, this, whether you have government identification or not, or the birth was registered or not. If you're on planet Earth, they deem they have jurisdiction, that you're a person, they have jurisdiction over you, period. So you got to see it. That's the obstacle that must be overcome to be free of the legal mumbo-jumbo bondage nonsense. I kid you not. The only recognized persons they create in this dead fictional wonderland legal system. It is why we use a proxy when reclaiming our securities, securing property. They know you're a man or a woman, that you is alive. They pledged your labor done right to public debt, so of course you're alive, but not within the dead fictional public legal system, not in the records, not on paper. That's the debtor. That's what they're seeing. Trying to fit a live man into a dead fiction system is a waste of time. The problem is, men and women appear in person, like Marv here, or do not know how to overcome being deemed a person like Marv here. I got this little quote here from a website, an interview I did earlier this week actually, and it's been my motto for a very long time, and that is, you do not escape by fighting it or trying to change it, but by removing yourself from it. Remember, this is in it and of it. If you're this, you're in it and of it. You don't want to be of it. Now, do you think it would be wise to set out to prove you are a live man in a dead fiction legal system, or that you're not the dead fiction person they created and recognize in that system, thereby removing yourself from it? In other words, could it be it is not about proving life in the dead fictional world, but proving you're not the dead fiction citizen debtor trustee they created and recognize? Look at it that you, buying through the estate, is the creditor bank, and the person, John Paul Smith, just an example, is the debtor, like Marv here. And the game they're playing, and we've authorized it and allowed it, but the game is to pass off on us the public rights, duties, obligations, and expenses of or associated with the person John Paul Smith. If you are not the debtor, citizen, trustee person John Paul Smith, can they pass off or attach to you the rights, duties, and obligations and expenses of or associated with John Paul Smith? I think not. And if not, then they are stuck with the duty to perform. It's fairly straightforward. It's not that complicated. Two things. Interest in the estate. I'm not the debtor. You don't go in there saying I'm not the debtor. I've discussed that here. Very straightforward. Anyhow, we provide evidence from one of their own, a High Court justice, that can be used in conjunction with other third-party evidence, as well as our full version statement of the benefactor, to establish you are not also a person, which is stated in previous videos, is an impossibility. In other words, a man cannot be this and that. They can't get past that. They will deem and there's nothing they're going to let you do to overcome that unless it's impossible that you are this and that. Seriously. We cover this in our tricks, traps, and deceptions videos, and we also provide documentation to establish your interest in the estate. Just going to pause here to make sure I said everything I came here to say. I'd like to keep this short if possible. Seriously, people, you have an interest in the estate. You're the one you're the source of the credit. But they don't see man, they see the estate. So that credit's coming into the system through the estate. Hence you have an interest in the estate because you're the one underwriting it, correct? We've talked about these things on these videos. And a person, like Marv here, is the debtor. He's got a smile on his face. He's a happy debtor. Oh, a little incident at the factory there, lost his arm. So he got a workers' compensation claim. Not really. But that's it. So who are you in the equation? And the way this woman dealt with it was beautiful. It was perfect. I am one with an interest in the estate. A person is a fictional being. So what she's saying is, I'm the one underwriting the estate that's underwriting the debtor. The debtor is the beneficiary of the surety here, remember? Just like if your mom and dad are covering securing a loan for you on your behalf, then you're the beneficiary of their credit. It should be that they be called upon to pay, and we are the ones that are called upon to pay. It's our labor that's the source of the energy and the credit and the funds, right? It doesn't come from anywhere else. So, like I say, if you kind of look at yourself in the name of the estate, buying through the estate, you're the bank that's funding the debtor. And their game is to get you to appear as, or to deem you to be the debtor, or get you to accept that you're the debtor, to get you to accept the service of the paperwork. They're just passing off their obligation on us, and we've allowed it, so that's in part why it's happening. But what I'm sharing here is how you can break that bondage, how you can break that chain. I believe that's all I came here to say, so I'm going to put a kibosh on this now. I love you. God bless, and remember, the light of God never fails. The dark will never win. Whatever war is going on out there, it's not possible. And everyone will meet the great judge, even me. And that judge knows everything about everybody. No one escapes divine justice. Love you. Ciao for now.